So welcome back to the channel, and today I got these two computers in the garage. So check it out. Customer reaches out to me and says, hey, my computer, which is Lenovo Legion, this is his newer-ish computer, stopped working on me. The issues that he said was that sometimes it turns on, sometimes it doesn't. When it does work, it likes to freeze, act up, and do some weird stuff. He said, wipe it, fix it, and do whatever you need to do so I can get my main gaming rig back up and running. I was like, all right, cool, we could definitely dive into that. It's a Lenovo Legion. I've never messed with any of these. Don't know how good it is, so we're definitely gonna find out about that. But he did offer me this. He said, in exchange for your services, I'll give you this one. So before he bought this one, he had this one. So he upgraded from this to this. He said, you can have this computer if you're able to fix this one. I don't know much about it or anything about it. Cyber power, according to the sticker, but I agreed, and sure, why not? Folks, hear me out. If I'm able to fix this one, no parts required, that's a win. Also, I end up with a free PC, but he did ask me this, and I'm all about helping people. And it's still a win, even if we have to go down this route. He says, if it does need any parts, can you just take it from here and whatnot? And I said, sure, absolutely. Even if we got to take a part or two from here, there's still some good bones, case, power supply, whatever we end up with less. I do have extra parts lying around, so we could potentially, depending on the specs, because I don't know much about it, have a good running PC and flip it. But this one also doesn't work. And I'm cool with that. That's fine, perfectly fine with that one. He said this one has no issues powering on and it works, but it does crash a lot. Just taking a look at it roughly, might be an overheating issue or it could be some software issue. I'm not 100% sure. There's gonna be a separate video on this, so you definitely don't wanna miss that. But today we're gonna dive into this Lenovo Legion. Lenovo Legion, don't know the model. We got some stickers on the side, so we'll take a look at that, but we're gonna dive into this one. Number one, see how well does it perform? Are these Lenovo Legions built pretty decent? Are they any decent? I've never messed with one, and find out what is wrong with it and hopefully fix it, no parts required. So let's pop it on the bench and verify the customer complaint. All right, so, whoa. The plastics work pretty good on it, or the rubber feet, there we go. Ooh, looks like, folks, we got something going on over here that got spilled on it. So I don't know how well it comes out on the camera. Potential spill action? Not sure. Lenovo 2022, this is the 90UT, that's the machine type, okay. Product family, Legion T526IR, B as in boy 8. And this was manufactured in 2023, made in Vietnam. All right, cool deal. We got a Windows sticker, so we probably don't have to worry about the Windows 10 nightmare on it, so that's cool. But Windows 11 has also been a nightmare. But anywho's, let's see, in the back, USBs, Type-C, Ethernet, sound, GPU, which it doesn't have a DVI port, so probably 2030 series, not sure, but we're gonna find out. Let's open this up. Let's see how tight these screws are. Definitely too tight. Screwdriver, a must. Hold on to this. I've had this happen where I take out the screws and it falls out. And I say that as I let it go. All right, thumb capture. Ay, geez. Has this ever been open? Oh, okay. Pull back. I will say it's a nice case. Right off the back, we have a GeForce RTX 3060. Okay, Lenovo, I give you props already because we have dual channel memory. Most companies put a single 16 gig or an 8 gig stick, so that's cool. As far as CPU or anything else like that, really can't tell much. Looks like we do have an M.2 over here. It is a little bit dusty. Fans, two 120s. Don't know who makes them. Legion. Okay. House brand. Maybe they just put their stickers on another company, but all right. As far as the front, Intel i5. So we know that. 12th gen maybe? We'll find out. And front I/O, 2 USBs, speaker, headphones, power button. Clicky. And this is good to test too, because I've had this issue too, where customers come in, computer keeps boot looping, won't turn on, randomly turns off. And what it is that sometimes these buttons just get stuck. And considering that we have some evidence of spill action, that does happen. So good to keep in mind. And is there anything else that we need to be aware of? Nope. Does have a anti-sag bracket, which is pretty secure. Maybe for shipping. Let's open up the back. And the whole point of this inspection too is to kind of make sure where the spill ends, where it began. It might have just been a splashback, so that could be cool. And it just got on the case and, I mean, the side panel, not anywhere else. We do have spider webs. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna say we have a M.2. I don't see a SATA or a mechanical, which is nice. And a power supply that I've never heard of. Hunt key. Do we have any specs on this? I think it's a 600 watt, just because 600 is the only number I see. It says do not exceed 500 watt. Nope, it's a 500 watt power supply. Maybe this power supply is the issue with this computer. We'll find out. Now, typically you want to plug it in, verify the customer complaint, which that is a good idea. But in this case, I think I'm just going to go ahead and just give it a quick dusting. You know, maybe that's all it needs. All right, so let's take a closer look. And basically, I'm just looking for evidence that whatever's got spilled on the side panel may have gotten over here. And honestly, it looks pretty good. Not seeing no evidence of anything. All right, now smell test. Smell on the bottom. Yeah, no smell of burnt or roaches, so I don't know. I guess the next thing to do is fire it up. Let's plug in our USB, mouse and keyboard, and pretty sure this is set for the top monitor. Here goes nothing. It turned on. So he said it wasn't intermittent. Ooh, yeah, we're going into the BIOS. Okay, we're on. Let's get into the BIOS. I think Lenovo is F1. All right, we're booting into Windows. Pause for a sec. Don't want to give the customer's information out. So it's actually been an hour since the last scene, and a few things. Number one, I spent some time constantly turning this thing on and off and on and off, and 100% of the time it works perfect. So not sure what's going on with that, but we'll see. Maybe the power supply needs to be under a load or it hasn't triggered. Not 100% sure. I did reach out to the customer and ask them about their login information so I could get in there. I really wanted to stress test the computer the way they had it, and they don't remember it. So they went ahead and they bought themselves a new gaming PC, and this one is going to be given to, I think, grandchild, something like that. But anyways, so they want this thing wiped clean. So I guess that's good. We could go ahead and install a fresh copy of Windows 11 and then stress test it that way and see what it does, monitor the temps, and probably go ahead and give this thing a good cleaning, first thermal paste, and make sure it's 100% so the grandchild can have a good gaming experience. But moving on, we are in the BIOS, and I gotta say, this is a cool looking BIOS. It just looks cool. Yes, they're advertising Lenovo Legion, but pretty cool. So we got an i5 13400F, an RTX 3060. They don't really tell me too much there. Let's go to more settings. LED off, RAM, basic. Maybe there's no XMP profile on this. We'll have to look. Performance mode. Control Q to switch. Advanced mode, maybe that one. Let's see. All right, storage. Audio, network. Chassis light RGB on. Oh, that's pretty cool. I don't know if they want the RGB on. Let me show you. That's pretty sweet. I will have to ask them about that and see what they want. Rainbow. Let's go to static. So now if you put static, you lose the lighting up here. Let's go back to rainbow. I'll have to play with that. I'm sure Lenovo has a software to deal with that. We'll find out. All right, I mean, nothing here too fancy. I guess we'll switch this to performance mode. Sure, why not? Let's exit. And what we're gonna go ahead and do, choose my copy of Windows 11 and get this thing installed. All right, so we're booted back up. It took a while to kind of, I guess, reconfigure for that advanced or that performance mode, whatever it was called. But at first I thought the computer didn't like it, but it just needed some time to get used to it, you know? It's got to reacquaint itself. So what we're gonna do is, I agree, everything will be deleted, including files, apps, and settings. Next, I'm gonna install Windows 11, all the drivers, probably see if this thing needs some BIOS updates, because that could be an issue too. And when we come back, we'll stress test this, game on it, see if it just needed a fresh copy of Windows, maybe a BIOS update, not 100% sure. In fact, I'll actually wait to do the BIOS update until I stress test it. That way we can rule out if that was the issue. But I mean, so far the computer keeps powering on and off with no issues, and I haven't seen anything funny, so we'll see. So Windows 11 installed, no issues, all updates, all the drivers. And the only thing I haven't done is a BIOS update. There is a BIOS update for this, but it's actually been a couple of hours and this computer has been running solid. I have not had it shut down, freeze up, or do anything. And I've run this stress test several times. So right now I'm running FurMark and IETA 64. Let's take a look at the temps. So on FurMark, our GPU 68, 69, hotspot 83, a little warmer than I would like, but I think fresh thermal paste would resolve that issue. But also no artifacts, and it's been solid. Now our CPU, I don't know if you can see it, but we've had a spike to 79. It's at 76 right now. But despite all that, I mean, the computer hasn't crashed and it's actually been solid. Now I'm using FurMark, and if you watch my previous videos, I used to use Heaven Benchmark all the time, but I actually had a GPU where Heaven Benchmark, it ran fine, but when I ran FurMark, it would crash. So since then, I've kind of stick to FurMark. It works pretty good. Only thing I did notice with this is that we have a fan. I don't know how well it comes out. It's a little noisy, and it's one of our GPU fans, but maybe we could fix that with a good cleaning. But other than that, everything is working solid. So I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do now, before I do anything else, I'm gonna run 2 games, Cyberpunk and Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and see if this thing is stable and how well it performs. So Shadow of the Tomb Raider, 1080p, I think it's ultra performance, the highest settings that you can get on it. And CPU temperature, the CPU is getting a little toasty, 76 degrees Celsius, 58 degrees Celsius. Now keep in mind, I don't have the side panels on, so it probably would get toastier. So I think a thermal paste, repaste will actually benefit this thing a lot. But I don't think it was getting that hot that it was being forced to shut down like that. It just might have been running real bad because of the temperature, but we're definitely gonna do that. So our average 165 frames per second, the minimum was 160. Everything looks good. Temperature is not too terrible. They are starting to get warmer. Like I said, we don't have the panels on, so 65 GPU, CPU. With the panels on, I could see it getting a little toasty, but let's dive into some Cyberpunk. All right, so Cyberpunk, got DLSS on, have it more on balanced. And not bad, looks good. frames per second, maybe about average 80 if I had to guess on it, but smooth, playable. Now, one thing I did notice when this game was loading before it got into the game was that the CPU did spike up to 80 degrees. So that is concerning. We're at 70 right now. And if we were to put the panels on, like I said, we'd probably definitely get warmer temperatures, 73. So I'm not gonna say that the overheating was the issue with this computer, but I think it was a issue. I mean, just as far as performance and stutters and all that type of stuff, because they do game, and they did game on this computer. So yeah, that's gonna be my recommendation. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably not survive this scene. Yep, because I haven't played this game in a while and I don't remember the controls. Yep, I did not survive. So let's shut this thing down. Let's take out the graphics card, fresh thermal paste on the graphics card, fresh thermal paste on the CPU, run our stress test, put the panels on, and see where we're at. All right, let's flip her on our side, and let's take out my USB. We don't need our thumb drive with Windows. Unplug the power. Make sure it's discharged, because I've actually had when I go to take out the graphics card, the computer turns on. So I don't want that to happen. So now where to start? I want to say the graphics card. Ooh, nice and tight. And looks like we got 2 screws over here, which attaches it to the case, which is pretty nice. It's probably more for shipping, if anything. I mean, this is not a girthy graphics card. 2 over here. Now, how in the blue world do you take this thing out? I mean, this is... So it's attached to this. But I cannot... Oh, okay. Will you give me some... This is ridiculous. Wow. I mean, it's a snug fit in there, but I did notice. I don't know if that's like that from the factory. I'll zoom you in. Maybe you folks can let me know in the comments, but there's like no latch to change out this graphics card. Okay. So right now, this thing is definitely a must. Typically, I delete on these, but considering there's no extra insurance here, we are going to have to leave that on. But moving on, let's take out our cooler. Thermal paste. Yeah, she's pretty dry considering we just ran it. But before we move on to the graphics card, let's go ahead and just knock this out. Let's wipe it with some alcohol. Give it one more clean wipe. Beautiful. I'll go ahead and I'll do that to the heatsink. Nice and clean. Let's go ahead and put some thermal paste, which I think I'm almost out of this one. Oh boy. There we go. Probably a little too much, but it'll be okay. Let's go ahead and pop you back in. Just like so. Tighten her crisscross applesauce. So they used to tell us in kindergarten, first grade. Pop you back in, and we're good to go. Now for the graphics card. Hopefully this one's pretty easy. Guess we'll find out. I really don't like this bracket, but guess we're just gonna have to deal with it. Maybe I don't have to take it off. Think. Let's just go for it, see what happens. Will this one be nice and just come off easy? Nope, we gotta take out more screws. So maybe these, because these are attached to that. So let's try that. Looks like there's a lot more on there. I'm just gonna go crazy and start taking all these screws out. Something's gonna break or loose. Maybe now. Oh, that came off. There's actually one more over here I missed. How about now? What in the world is holding you on? There we go. Just that nice strong bond. So we did have to take off these screws for this back plate off, so that worked out. Thermal paste, dry. Thermal pads, moist. Take a toothpick, get off this excess stuff on the side. Do you have to do this? No. It's like a worm. But it couldn't hurt, so why not? Let's wipe her with some alcohol, just like we did the CPU. Oh yeah, she'll be ready. She'll be ready. Same thing over here. Looks good. Now let's find some thermal paste. We're just gonna use some MX6 because, well, that's what I have. I can't find my other stuff. Personally, lately, I've been using the PTM 7950. That stuff is awesome. It's pricey and it could be aggravating to put on, but that's some good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, finish dusting this out, put this back together, fire it up, see what our temps look like. So she's put back together, panels are on. I wasn't able to get rid of that fan noise. That's just something they're just gonna have to deal with. Fan probably needs replacement, but I'm already running firmware, AIDA 64. Our temperatures look a lot better on the GPU, a couple of degrees. I think the hotspot was 83, we're at 79. So that's pretty good. And also the thermal paste, you know, it's got to bake in a little bit. But anyways, our CPU, what, 72, 75, it did spike to 80 at one point, but it's really quiet. I guess it's got a low fan curve. So before I wrap this up, I am gonna go ahead and update the BIOS. And you can download it from their website, and they have a flash utility, which makes it pretty cool. Let's go ahead and install it. Now this is nerve-wracking, and if you're gonna do this, number one, I always recommend doing it on one of those power battery backups and or a power surge, just in case you lose power or you have a surge. I mean, that happens, you can break it, so do that and consider that. And next, and also tells you do not power off during an update, next. So let's run this, and we wait. Sometimes this can take a while, and I've actually had OEM computers where they do the BIOS update and then the computer shuts off and you're like, do I wait to turn it on? Do I leave it off? And it gets a little nerve-wracking, I will say that, but hopefully this should be easy. So we survived the BIOS update and everything is working great. Booted up, no issues. So that's always a good thing. And folks, if you're gonna update your BIOS, do some research, watch a couple of videos, use precautions, because if you do it wrong or something happens, you can end up totally bricking your computer, making it worthless. So just kind of keep that in mind. But the big question is, what was wrong with this computer? Honestly, I'm not sure. Could have been the dust and I dusted it and that fixed it. I don't know. Could have been overheating. I doubt that was the issue because the temperatures, although they were a little toasty, they weren't terrible. But I mean, I do have some theories. So theory number one, potentially it could be where they had the computer. I see this a lot, that people still have these cubbies, and from these wooden desks, they stuff their computer in there, they have a door, they close it. I see this. Let me know in the comments if you still see this. And the computer just suffocates. There's no airflow. Combine that with some old thermal paste, it could have just been shutting down from overheating. That's theory number one. I'd have to ask the customer about it. Theory number two, they put these computers in these tight compartments, they push it up all against the wall, and the power cable just bends. And after years, and I've even seen this after a couple of months, the amount of pressure, eventually that power cable gives, and if the computer just moves the wrong way, the computer shuts off. Something could touch, bridge, cable's broken. So that's another thing. As far as the spill action in the back, I did clean all that up. I did take a look at everything thoroughly. Nothing got inside the computer, so that's a good thing. So what happened to it? I'm not sure, but all I do know is the temperatures are great, the computer performs great, reliable. I've been using it for several hours, multiple stress tests, gaming on it, and it works great. I reached out to the customer, giving them my updates, and they're happy, they're excited, and it will be going to their grandchildren. So that's awesome. So with that, I went ahead, cleaned it, give it a nice DLM tech cleaning, wiping everything down with alcohol, shining up the glass so you can really see the RGB, and I'm sure it'll make them happy. The cool thing is, computer's fixed, no parts required. Okay, so maybe a little thermal paste, but still, no parts required, and that's awesome. And the best part is, now I have this other computer to tinker around and play with and figure out what's wrong with it, does it work, can I fix it, no parts required, and if so, we could flip it and make a couple of $100. That's pretty cool, depending if it's worth it. So we'll see. I'm glad this is done. I got another computer to tinker with. Stay tuned for that video. And with all that being said, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. What do you think was wrong with this? What are your thoughts on these Lenovo Legion gaming PCs? Are they any good? This is my first one I've ever dealt with. And I will say this, it's definitely a lot better than the HP Omens that I typically get in the garage. And do you do trades for computer work? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.